How do you view it?
In the end, if you see the game, I think during the game you feel it that the 3 points were there to take the 3 points home. But then, with everything that happened, with Harry has to come out, Casemiro has to come out, Ben suffered 2 goals again in the short period of time, but to manage to score again, so it's a point. When you cannot win, you don't lose the game, and once again we managed to do that. But if you look to the game and if you feel the environment, we have so much to grow as a team, because today was our day to win this game.
Tottenham came and made some substitutions at half-time. What sort of changed for them to get back in the game to get the 2 goals for you?
I think it's more we need to look at ourselves. We were not pressing with the same intensity. We allowed, because we felt comfortable, but we need to understand that, but to feel also that if we have a little bit more bravery, we can kill this game. But sometimes it's like that. You have a first half better than the second.
But the mentality is clearly there, because at the end it looked like Richarlison was going to score the winner, but then Ligt still had the opportunity.
Yeah, I think is the positive point, is that they managed to push forward, to understand with less one player is to push the ball to the final third, trying to win a corner. We did that, and then we believe in our capacity to score goals until the last minute, and we did that.
I wanted to ask you about Sene Lammers. A couple of really great saves today from close range. In the very opening minute of the game, it looked like he just took his eye off the ball and it rolled under, but that didn't affect him, and it could have done. What do you sense about his mentality and how he's settling?
He's doing really well. He's a very adult, and he understands that in a game a lot of things can happen, but especially for a goalkeeper, you need to move on for anything that happened in the last minute. So it's like a new game every time the ball is on the pitch. I think with 23 years old, he understands that quite well.
Benjamin Šeško came off. Is he injured himself?
We have to see, but maybe I think he has a problem, but let's see.
And as we go into the international break, what's sort of your assessment? What's your feeling?
We need, it is a little bit frustration, but also a little bit pride of the response of the players after the second goal of Tottenham. Then to look at the team, I understand that this is just the tip of iceberg, so we are just in the beginning of becoming a very strong team, so we have a lot to do, and we are going to work with the guys that are not going to the national team, and we are going to evaluate everything, trying to see also games from the kids, so try to use this space to on evolution of our club, not just the first team.
Ruben, thank you very much.
Berber, is that a fair comment? With a bit more bravery, they could have seen out the game.
And also inform attacking players, which obviously we were speaking about Šeško, if he was ready, maybe having a good opportunity to score. But as he said, if you're not winning the game, you better not lose it. You know, so a point, a draw, I think he's going to be okay with it. But I think he regretted it. As he said, the 3 points were there for them to take it. Maybe they're too comfortable at times, thinking that Spurs are falling asleep, the stadium is too quiet, so it's going to be okay. But it shows you that in football, you never know. Last 10 minutes, we witnessed a drama, and in the end, a draw.
Not good news for United fans. We mentioned Maguire and Šeško's injury. So Casemiro had to come off.
With an injury.
With an injury as well.
Well, that's the job of the manager eventually, to know how to manage a situation like this and to make the players ready for the next game. And they have a good fixture of games that they can, if they're ready and have that consistency, concentration, and that bravery, let's say, of the forward pass, of the risky pass, of taking the chances when it's there, I think the season can go even better, because they're in a good position to attack the first places in the table, because the difference between points is very, very small.
That is 2 of Berber's former clubs done then. Another one.
In the game, so very much given them a platform to build from, Owen. Do you think it's just going to be time till that attacking rhythm can come on top of that?
Yeah, I thought the first 60 minutes they were very average. Then he made the changes, and I think the energy and the momentum from the players was completely different. So I think he'll be happy with that. But you think about it, Crouch, you said it, Kulusevski, Solanke, Maddison, Lucas Bergvall. When those boys come back in, technically they're a better side and they can probably play better football. I think they had more possession than Man United today. But again, they got the ball wide and they crossed it. It wasn't really intricate play. But I think you think about the position that they're in the Champions League and the Premier League, they should be delighted considering the injury list that they have. So they'll play better football for sure. But I thought the finish was good.
Although they had more possession, I think, Tottenham, I think it always felt like Manchester United, I think with Cunha and Bernwell, it felt like they had more of a cutting edge.
Yeah, absolutely. And positives for Man United we will get into as well, because they take another point after going behind in a game, fighting back. So they're now 5 games unbeaten. Well,
Goals in 7 minutes. And Manchester United haven't scored many from set pieces, actually. Nice to see a goal from a defender and sharing these goals around.
It is, and it's normal to score from a set piece for defender. But the major thing here for me are this. During the game, he was marked in a set pieces by Brennan Johnson, which for me, as we spoke with Jay, is a mismatch. The Ligt is a strong and powerful defender. Brennan Johnson is quite the opposite. He is not as strong as him. You can see, especially on this set piece, how he loses the Ligt from the side. And then he is free to score that header. Of course, we can argue the goalkeeper can do better as well by pushing the ball out of the back of the net. But speaking from experience, sometimes when your header is so powerful, your reaction time is short, so you don't have time to quickly react. But the major thing for me is that Brennan Johnson was marking the Ligt in that so much.
We were surprised, which is a little bit surprising because Spurs have conceded the fewest goals from set pieces in the Premier League.
100%.
They've been second.
Yeah, they've been good defending set pieces, but the whole setup, Brennan Johnson can't be marking the Ligt. It is a mismatch. He's twice his size. He loses him too easy. I think he just panics and he gets himself in the area where he's free, and obviously Spurs end up conceding and that. And when you work so hard to get back into the game and then you concede in that manner, and that of course is disappointing.
And the way they got back in, the game seemed to be drifting away from Tottenham at 1-0 down, and then bang, from nowhere, 2 in 7 minutes.
Yeah, but it's a transition. It's a transition. Odegaard does really well here, to be fair. It's just sort of drop of the hips, brilliant. And he plays out to Udogie, but there, you look at it there's Man United got bodies in the box, but it comes in, this is your goal, Jay.
Yeah,
so you know what John like about it is the turn, it's calculated, he knows what it's not, because when I first saw it, I thought maybe it's a bad touch. But you see him here, the ball goes wide and it's just such a good touch. He means to do it, and you see here. But even so, I just feel like, I spoke before to Berber, I said about when I played against Ferdinand and Vidic, and if you got the better of the first man, the other man would always cover. And I just think when you look at it here, I've just felt like Luke Shaw maybe, because when the ball goes wide, you're defending the box. When the ball goes in the box, you're defending the goal. I just thought maybe he could have sort of covered and tried to block. But saying that, it's an amazing turn and finish.
How clever was Richarlison then for 2-1?
Oh man, ugly goal for sure. Ugly goal. But sometimes this type of goals are the most precious that you can score. And it was a typical centre-forward goal at the right moment, the right positioning, following the game, positioning your body in the proper way that you be ready for the ball. And I don't think he even scored with a header, probably a shoulder or something like this, but he was right there where he's supposed to be and following.
So that was one centre-forward at one end, but I must ask you, at 1-1, Benjamin Šeško on as a substitute, and actually came off injured in this as well. How big a moment was this for him and for United? Because if this goes in, he makes his confidence sky high, doesn't he?
Yeah, and we used to be strikers as well, and I want to be supportive, sympathizing with his situation. Yes, he needed to do better here, maybe take the ball more to the left foot, so this way eliminated the defender. We cannot take away from the tackle of Mickey van der Ven as well, great tackle, but maybe that lack of confidence, playing minutes, that affect a player, and then when you get injured out of it, then it shows that you are maybe not ready to step into the game at full speed.
And I said that. I said before the game, at the top of the show, I said that for a centre forward, when you've rested, dropped, whatever it is, you're not in a team and you're disappointed, but make sure you're ready to come on, because you can change the game. You get a moment, you get a chance where you can change the game. And I felt like that's his chance. I'm not saying it was an easy chance because it was a great tackle, but at the same time, when you go through conviction and
If you're scoring goals for fun and you're in the group...
Oh, yeah, he's going
to score.
It's the first touch always makes the goal. And the first touch, if you take the ball off the line, away from the defender, then you can go and finish. But when he watches it back, he'll be disappointed that because it didn't actually have a shot at goal. So yeah, and obviously it ends up getting injured. But that's why you have to be ready to come on and make an impact.
So let's get the shoulder goal out of the way then. You describe it as ugly, but it was a huge goal for Tottenham at the time and for Richarlison as you saw his reaction.
Some of the most important goals are the ugliest one. But again, the right moment at the right time. Look at him. He's following and waiting for the ball. Yes, you can speculate that the defender, whoever he is, I cannot see from here, is going out slower than he needs to look. But the position...
Ugarte,
it can happen. But the positioning of the body, I think that's even a shot from... Odegaard. I don't think it's a cross, it's a shot. He's trying to shoot last minute of the game, put the ball there, whatever happens, but it ends up in the shoulder of Richarlison, who actually is pointing it out towards the goal.
Yeah.
Hoping that the ball is going to end up in the back of the goal, which happened.
Yes, it's a proper scruffy number 9 goal, but you have to be there to make contact and get it in the goal and that. And then it looks like Tottenham are going to get 3 points. You know, started slow, but then eventually, you know, with the good changes, got back into the game.
And is that the disappointment from Tottenham?
Yeah, 100%.
Having swayed it to go 2-1 up in front with a minute to go.
I think so, 100%. I think you've got to then see, you know, you've got to see the game out. You know, there's not long left. You've got to see the game out. Set piece, you have to make first contact. It doesn't matter where it goes, just make first contact, clear your lines. We said before about, you know, away from home they've been so good this season. But then at home, the home form's not been the same. But I suppose the positive that you can take out of the game today is that obviously the way that they finished.
And for United, the way they finished as well, actually, with that last minute, with that character, they've done it, as I say, 2 weeks running away from home. No, you're not having it, are you, Berber?
For sure. For sure you can say character, coming back, blah, blah.
But they weren't doing it last season, were they?
No, that's the improvement. But you are leading 1-0. In a way, you control the game. And then, last minutes of the game, you're trailing 2-1. I'm pretty sure that Richarlison was thinking, I want the game for my team. But then it shows you that in football, a set piece, a free kick or whatever, we spoke about this before, it's so important to know how to cross, to position yourself, of course. When you have a mismatch in who is guarding who, that can be an advantage for the opposition, like we saw today as well. So you don't give up. As a cliche as it sounds, the game is played now 96, 97 or whatever minutes. And if you have a set piece, make sure you can use it the right way. That's why most teams now having long throws, defensive coach, set pieces coach, so they can, you know, be ready for the moments like this. And today we saw how important it is if you have the right set piece and to know how to take advantage of it.
And it's a lesson for Tottenham in game management, concentration.
I think that's all it is. I think concentration. You know, from the first minute to the last, and obviously seeing. But I'm just surprised with Brennan Johnson. You know, he can't be marking. I think even like. He's probably the same size as me. My job was always...
Is he marking space or is he marking a player here, do we think?
He's marking a player, but I remember always...
Instructed to, or...?
Look, he's following him.
Yeah.
He's trying to see where he is.
Yeah.
But then
and you have to... And it's horrible when you're in there, but you have to stay with your man. And even if you're not going to win the header, but you have to try and bump him so that he doesn't get a clear header at goal.
But Jay, of course, I don't think it's his fault. Probably the manager, whoever makes the set pieces, says you need to mark the Ligt today.
Yeah.
And I remember how I hated marking someone bigger than me, and I'm a big guy. Yeah. So I can imagine how he was probably feeling, thinking, oh God, I hope the ball is not coming my way.
Yeah.
No, it is like that.
Mismatch. Shouldn't be marking him.
Interesting. From United's point of view, the positive is they've scored in 7 games in a row, but they've still kept just 1 clean sheet all season. And
they probably work on this as well, for sure. From striker perspective, though, defensive-wise, yes, that's why I was so surprised. We were watching the game, it was like 5-4-1, very difficult to break in. But obviously, sometimes you find the necessary tools to score 2 goals, and then you need to score another one. But from striker perspective for United today, for example, like we spoke about Sesko, Cunha also didn't have a good day at the office as well. But there were players shining here and there. But most of them, I'm pretty sure, on the way back to Manchester will be disappointed with what happened today.
And they'll have injuries to Šeško and Maguire as well, by the look of it as well.
Yes, we forget about that. Yeah, Maguire, who's been really, really great in the back, also hamstring or something happened. But sometimes that's the chances you take when you play games, and you need to rotate, to rest, especially with rotation. Sometimes you get going, but then the coach or the manager is like, you're going to rest today.
Yeah,
and
then,
then, exactly. Then you lose your momentum. Then you need to be ready to come in. You're not prepared. Another injury. Bad season.
Another home game in the league, not won. They haven't won since Thomas Frank's only home win in the Premier League against Burnley.
Yeah, but you can tell by the body language of the players. Richarlison was on his knees. No, even though didn't lose. You know, if you can't win, don't lose. Didn't lose. But at the same time, these players know. You know what? This is our pitch. This is our ground. You know what I mean? So, you know, you got to give the. We said before against Chelsea, the fans are quiet. The fans are quiet again today. But you have to perform. You know, the fans come to watch you. You just have to perform to get and at the end, the atmosphere was completely different. But you've come into the game too late. So, yeah, but they have to find a way to win it.
Exactly, because if Spurs started the game the way they started the first 10 minutes of the second half, and the last probably 5 or 10 minutes in the game, the last minutes of the game, then they will have more chances of winning that game today. Because the first half, Spurs were not there. No. The 10 minutes of the second half, they attacked. They wanted to show intent that we're going to try to do something, and they did eventually. But they need to start the game on the right foot. Otherwise, that consistency will never be there, and it's going to be season again of up and down, up and down.